Hello, my name is Ethan Weimer, and for my project, I researched the viability of using processed acid mine drainage as a soil amendment. The objective of this research is to identify whether acid mine drainage falls within the safe ranges to be distributed into soil and if it is capable of enhancing it. If it meets these requirements, the final goal is to do physical testing and use the AMD amendment to help reclaim disturbed areas. Acid mine drainage, or AMD, is a pollutant that forms as a result of sulfur mixing with air and water after being released from both operating and closed mines. It is very expensive to dispose of properly, and so finding alternative methods of getting rid of it would be very valuable to reclamation efforts. Acid mine drainage has been identified as a potential ingredient to an amendment, but due to presence of nutrients that can be harmful if too highly concentrated, it must be tested before use. The test that was selected was the Toxicity Characteristic Leaching Procedure, or TLCP, limit test, which involves simulating the process of leaching. Leaching is the process of chemicals being drained into the lower layers of soil by liquid, especially rainwater. Due to the saturation of the soil during the TLCP test, the results must be interpreted considering the TLCP rule of 20, which means that either the results must be divided by 20 or the limits must be multiplied by 20. The processed AMD must stay within the limits associated with the TLCP test. Several West Virginia sources of acid mine drainage were compared to the limits associated with the TLCP test. The table labeled percent difference from TLCP limit of samples shows the difference in percent of the limit and the results of the TLCP test. The closest any of the samples came to the limit only made up 60% of it, which is well within restrictions. A table of basic requirements for soil to be considered healthy was compiled in order to see where AMD falls short and to see what will need to be mixed with it in order to turn it into an effective soil amendment. This information can be used in the future to make up for any shortcomings that acid mine drainage might have with fertilizer or other ingredients included in amendments. Characteristics that were considered include the pH of the soil, the presence of key nutrients such as phosphorus or potassium, and the percent composition of the soil that is made up of organic matter. The conclusion drawn from this research was that using acid mine drainage as an ingredient in a soil amendment is well within the realm of possibility. Future work for this project will include a scale test, which will be used to provide physical evidence for its effectiveness. This scale test will involve making groups of planters containing different types of grasses that are selected based on how well they grow and target disturbed areas. The planters will each contain different amounts of processed AMD mix and will be monitored as they grow. At the end of the growing season, the acid mine drainage mix that fosters the best growth will be selected for real-world testing. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.